Jake, we're back in for pre-season. It doesn't feel like 2 minutes ago since we left the stadium at London there. What's the off-season look like for you?
It's been a long off-season for me. I went to Australia. I'm back now, back to work. Really looking forward to seeing the squad that me and Steve have put together. So we've been busy even while being in Australia. I know Steve's been busy, holding the fort down for me. But after London, it was all hands on deck. I think we had 4 players signed. So we've put a squad together of 22, 23, and to compete this year and definitely be in that top 2.
We couldn't start this interview with you without a small reflection on 2023. What are your thoughts on that season, and what have we or you or the club learnt about that season?
I think it's a bit of a cliche. It's a roller coaster. Every year is, but last year more so. For me, starting on the coaching staff, then taking a bit more of a senior role as DOR, to understand that it was totally new for me, but I knew what was required, and to have someone, Steve, yourself with me to take that journey and learn and develop our knowledge has been really good. So last year I think we probably were promised the world and got given an atlas, and I think we've learned a lot from last year. It's not about how much you spend, and it's about the type of people you get in, and I think last year just wasn't our year. The boys didn't gel the way we expected. I can't knock their effort. You go out in that field week in, week out, and you've got so much pride in yourself and the shirt that you wear, but it just wasn't falling our way.
And that leads nicely onto the squad that we've got this year. We've retained a handful of players: Oscar Thomas, Charlie Graham, Junior Sow, Mark Ioane, Ellis Robson, DP, Ben Stead, Kyle Keswick, and Josh Lynham. They all bring something to this new group, don't they?
Yeah, it's quite important that you retain a certain amount of players. The culture that we had a few years ago, like the likes of Stead, DP, Charlie, and Liney that you said, they were a part of that, and we want to get that back. So they were quite important to keep. Can't keep them all, as you know, but also the retention of Mark. Junior we did earlier on in the year is a real intent, from the club that we're not just resting on our laurels. We don't want to be in this league. We're fighting to get out of it, and then to top it off, we bought Mr. Miller back. That was a big part of the culture that I think we missed. But to get him back now and to have him fighting fit, and he's coming back to prove a point. Is going to be nothing but positive for us.
And Jack had obviously signed a contract while we were still in Championship. He was going to be back with us regardless of the league we were in.
Correct. I'm not looking back on the decision that was made that Jack wanted to do that, and we facilitated that. Personally, I didn't want him to go, but would never stand in the way. But to bring him back is a big part, I think, to bringing this team back together, to bring the enjoyment back, bringing the fans back, and just enjoying the environment again. He's such a character, and I'm really looking forward to see what he can bring back to this group.
And the additions there as well of Adam Ryder and Matt Bailey returning to the club as well. I remember we were in the upstairs hospitality room after the Monday after the London game, and it was pretty quiet in there, and all of a sudden my phone rang. It was Adam's agent who said he'd still love to join you regardless of the relegation. So someone like that coming back has got to be a big plus for us as well.
Yeah, definitely. To have people here that want to be here and want to be here for the right reasons is going to be great for the club, great for the team, great for the players around. And hopefully, a pleasure to work with for the coaching staff. So that's what our main goal was about this squad this year, was to not just sign the player, sign the person, and I think we've done that.
Yeah, looking through the remainder of the new signings: D. Foggin Johnson, Alex Bishop, Lewis Hatton, Aaron Brown, Lachlan Lansky, Jordan Schofield, Cody Downey, Ben Dean, Will Mayer and Billy Walkley. There's a real mix of experience, youth and people on their own journeys there, isn't there? Players like Jordan Schofield wanting to leave Wakefield to come and develop himself here in a League One environment.
Yeah, well, you pretty much covered exactly what I would have said there. But you know, you've got Will Mayer, who's got to find himself again. You know, I think that's a great signing. You know, Aaron Brown, he was a really late call, but to get that done pretty much in, I think it was 3 or 4 hours, that just showed his intent that he wanted to be here. You got Bish, who's, you know, he's got history with Matt. Matt really likes him. So in this group that we've signed, you know, Matt's he's got his footprint on it a little bit. So hopefully it'll all work out for him, and he can bring this team together.
And is there a relationship blossoming there with Huddersfield? Cody Downey and obviously Ben Dean coming out of the Huddersfield Giants reserve system. Is that something we're looking to explore as well?
Yeah. It's I think we developed that a bit last year. You know, with bringing a few of their players in. We had Bibby and Rush come in, and that's how the relationship started. So it's going to be nothing but good, you know, to have a relationship with Super League teams. You know, they've got quality, they see quality, and to be able to poach a few, or them give us a few, or, you know, point us in the right direction, is nothing but great for the club.
And Lewis Hatton's someone you've been after for a couple of years.
Yeah. That's definitely true. You know, he's a worker. He's a little barrel. I remember playing him here. I can't remember what year it was. The year that we went undefeated. My memory's going with my old age. You know, and I liked him from that moment. I think ever since then I wanted to get him, and when he came up I jumped at the chances, you know, and to top it off we got his partner as well, his wife, to be the physio, so it was a good deal all in all.
So more of a family feel again, to add to that feel you were talking about earlier, that it is a family club. We're trying to re-gel the club back together. Yeah. And adding Lewis's wife into that equation is only just going to solidify that, isn't it? Yeah,
that's what I think mine and Steve's, mine and yours, goal was this year. You know, was to bring Keighley back to where we were a few years ago. I think we lost that last year. I think we got caught up in the hype of going undefeated and then expecting to do better again, instead of being realistic. But now I think we're realistic about where we sit, where we want to be in the next few years, and it's a process now. So, you know, we've just got to tick the boxes that we need to. It's not just on the field; it's off the field.
And we've got a handful of trialists coming in. Danny Salkhead from Stanley, Aaron Harlow Stevenson, who's been playing at Midlands, Max Lambourne, who's been in the CAS system, Callum Bacon, who comes from an amateur side, and Liam Copland, who's played previously at Oldham. Those guys range of skill sets. Is it a case of them just getting tipped in and finding the feet, and they're here for a trial?
Yeah, exactly that. You know, we're giving them opportunity. What they do with that opportunity is up to them. But you know, it's in their hands. You know, a lot of those players have had a little bit of a taste of what it's like to be in a professional environment. Now we just want to see how much they want it. There's definitely a few spots that we need to, you know, fill in the squad. So it all depends on how they turn up. But I've got, you know, good faith in them. I've spoke to them all, and they all seem like good young kids, and just need to rip in now.
And in terms of the squad, is that set now, or are we still in the market? Is there still any tweaks or additions that we might want to make, or is it a case of let the pre-season unfold a little bit and then take a view from there?
Nah, you're never done. You know, you're always wanting to build and add to the squad, but we're not just going out there to buy anyone. You know, it's got to fit in. As I said, it's the person as well as a player. So we're not just going to go out and spend money just for the sake of it. We'll wait till someone comes up, and if we need to fill a spot, we will. So we do have funds for that, but you know, we're not rushing to the market. Definitely not at the moment.
And in terms of this year's goals, then I guess it's got to be get back into the championship, hasn't it? By one way or another. Yeah,
that's what we've set out to achieve. I'm still pretty distraught after last year, well this year, but last season. So I've definitely got my heart set on going back up, and I'm pretty sure the rest of the club do, and that's what the boys are here to do. We've made it quite clear that, we're not signing just to make up numbers. We're signing to go back to where we want to be. So let's put our best foot forward and rip in.
And in terms of the league structure as well, we've now got some clarity on that. Does that change anything from your side? Obviously, we may have been preparing for just 7 or 8 home games. We've now got 10 or 12. Does that change how the squad's shaped in terms of depth?
It does a little bit now. You asked the question before we finished. That's why we haven't finished going to market. You know, it's a bit of a longer year, so we need to have a few, you know, a little bit in our back pocket just in case. So we are always on the lookout, speaking to agents, speaking to clubs, just making sure that we're still, you know, in other people's ears and eyes. But you know, that's nothing but great for the club. We needed something more, and you know, thank God the RFL gave us a little bit more. So we're really looking forward to seeing what this year unfolds.
And while we're talking about league structures, do you have an opinion on what that should look like, or do you just leave that to everybody else?
Yeah, well, we've had very in-depth discussions. You know, I think the merger is probably the best to keep the game, you know, entertaining. There's lots of ways you can do that. I don't think we've got time to go into it, but something needs to happen, I believe. You know, I'm not saying League One's a dead league, but it needs a revamp in some way. But the coming years will tell. You know, IMG have got their plans. We've just got to all buy into it all, which I think we are. We're doing the best we can, and hopefully we'll be in good stead for years to come.
Enjoy your first week back, not training.
Yes.
And we'll catch up with you soon.
Sweet, peace.